Hello and welcome. My name is Amanda and this is my channel, Her Pacific Northwest Washington Life. And today we are kicking off the week 26 reading vlog. I thought I would take advantage of my setup since I just finished filming my June book haul to at least look a little presentable for a vlog clip for once. So this week is an exciting week. I've got two new readathons I'm participating in. So I still have the Make Your Myth Taker readathon that is the whole month long. This is the last full week of that, and I have one book left in my pathway here to be a fairy. See that? One book left. And then it also starts the Camp Bookland Readathon, which is a readathon created by Paige over at the channel Creating & Co. She also has a book club on Facebook called the Creating & Co. Book Club. And we do a readathon every other month in her book club, and it spans a week long. So like I said, this week is Camp Bookland, and it's a little different from normal readathons. We usually do a readathon with like 5 reading prompts. This time she wanted to do a camp kind of theme, so we've got 3 different cabins, which you saw on the bottom here, and each cabin has a group read and then 2 additional prompts, so 3 books per cabin. You can double up, triple up, however many you want. You don't have to stay in the same cabin if you don't want, but the one I'm focusing on is Magic Seekers. So the group read is The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller, which I believe came out this year, and I'm not interested in reading it, so I'm not going to. The other 2 prompts are A Hidden World and Nobility, which I've got books picked out for, and we'll see how those go. And then the other readathon I'm participating in, I have a page set up for that in my planner as well, is the Visit Hogsmeade readathon, which is part of the Magical Readathon umbrella. And this is just, since we're in year 3 of the Magical Readathon, this is doing 3rd year stuff, which is the first time students get to visit Hogsmeade. And so there's 10 different locations. The rules are that you can't double up on books, 1 book per prompt, and you have to start with the Marauder's map because we didn't get our parents' permission to go into Hogsmeade, so we have to use the map to sneak in. So for that, the prompt is to read a book with a map, and I believe the book I'm going to pick up first is going to be one that fits for Camp Bookland, the royalty prompt, and the Visit Hogsmeade for that prompt. And then other than that, you can go wherever you want along the path and finish books and things like that. I'm definitely not going to read 10 books, so I'm kind of trying to prioritize the reads that I really want to get to. Really quickly, last night I told you in my week 25 vlog that I was gonna finish Blanca y Roja, but I hadn't at that point, so I did finish it last night, and I'm giving it a 4-star rating. I really enjoyed this book. It was just beautifully written, like all her books are, and you've got some representation for you've got Latina representation. You also have, I guess, LGBTQIA+ rep. So there is a transgender boy in here who I guess is a little unique in that he likes to go by he or she, but wants to be referred to as a boy. But doesn't want to be called girl or like young lady or things like that, which I think is interesting. I've not come upon that yet in my life, so I think it's an interesting way to look at things. But really enjoyed this. I have always said that this was a Swan Lake retelling, which in part it is, but it is more a retelling of Snow White and Red Rose, or Rose Red. Yes, Snow White and Rose Red by the Brothers Grimm, with a little bit of influence, or I guess a lot of bit of influence from the Tchaikovsky ballet of Swan Lake. So I enjoyed this a lot, and will continue to pick up more of Anna Marie McLemore's books. I just think they're so beautifully written and really have powerful stories in them. So enjoyed that. My one carryover book for the week was Heartless by Gail Carriger. Okay, we're good. Hopefully that doesn't fall over. Heartless by Gail Carriger. I have 2.5 hours left. I've been listening to that for most of today. I went to my violin lesson and then was finally able to make it to the Goodwill to drop off. The whole back of my car was just completely full of like spring cleaning items, like clothing and other things. I need to purge my craft drawer and other things like that, but that'll be a later day sort of thing. So did that, and then came home and ate lunch and filmed my book haul. So now I'm going to edit that video and get it up or scheduled. And then by that point, Skylar should be home. So we'll have a nice evening together. And I'll probably finish off Heartless tonight. That will be the plan. And then as far as what book I'm picking up, the last book for the Make Your Myth Taker that I need to read is The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm by Christopher Paolini, which this will be a really quick read. And I can swap it in for the Has a Map prompt, but I'm not sure that it fits in the... No, I do need that bookmark. I'm not sure it fits in Camp Bookland anywhere because I'm not sure if there's royalty, and it definitely isn't a hidden world. So the book I had planned was Falling Kingdoms Book 5, Crystal Storm. And this fits for both readathons, and I really would like to get to this book. I just also want to finish my Make Your Myth Taker readathon as well. But knowing that I have until like Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, if I don't get to this one this week, I'll be fine. But also, I fly through these, so I shouldn't be worried. So I think the next book I'm going to pick up will be Crystal Storm. The first 4 books in this series were rereads for me, so this one is a brand new book for me, and I'm really, really excited about it because the last book left off on a cliffhanger. We had a character brought back from the dead, or maybe they were never dead to begin with. So I really want to know what's going on, and I think this will be what I pick up. So I think that's going to be it. Got lots of plans. I need to clean up. I need to get myself sorted in some way. But if I have another reading update, I will definitely check in before the day is out. We are on day 3 of camp and visiting Hogsmeade. I am halfway through Crystal Storm now, which I started on Monday and I believe told you about. So we've got like a chapter sampler from the last section. So a couple, those pages are pages I don't need to read. I'm liking where this is going so far. We, for the first time, have all of our really like key characters in one place, working to plot together, which is really exciting. So I'm intrigued to see how that goes. Lots more things are kind of being unfolded. And since this is my first read of this one, I will not be remembering anything and nothing's going to come back to me. So I'm really excited to see how that goes. I also started Timeless, which is the last book in the Parasol Protectorate series by Gail Carriger, on Tuesday. And I am listening to it through my library. I have about 9 hours and 20 minutes left in the book. And we'll see how that goes. It's feeling a little different than the rest of the series right now, but that's okay. So Crystal Storm works for both the readathons. I'm participating in 3 readathons right now. Crystal Storm works for one of them. It works for Camp Bookland for the royalty prompt. And Timeless works for it works for 2. Crystal Storm works for 2. So for the Visit Hogsmeade prompt, it is my book with a map, which gets me into Hogsmeade. Obviously, that's the one prompt you have to start with. So Timeless only counts for Hogsmeade, and that is for the shop, Dervish and Bangs, which the prompt is to read a steampunk book. It is steampunk. And other than that, Make Your Myth Taker, I'm not making any progress on that right now. So I'm hoping to have Crystal Storm finished up by tomorrow, and maybe even Timeless as well. I want to aim for maybe 5 books for Visit Hogsmeade, but we'll see how many I'm actually able to get through. But I also wanted to show you some stuff, some planner related stuff that I got in the mail yesterday. I did a pre-order of a washi set from Bloom School Paper Co., which is honestly my favorite place to get washi. Back in March, I was actually doing it. I placed the pre-order while I was with Darshell and Kayla, two friends that I've met through the planning community and the book community. But the pre-order is this, I think, winter book washi set. So it came with this really beautiful journaling card, which has silver foil on it that you can hardly see. And on the back is just a plain, like, floral element, which this is on one of the washi's. It also came with I ordered a magnetic bookmark, which is just a bunch of books stacked together. Really nice. And then this is the washi set. So I think we've got like a 15 or 20 millimeter to 10 millimeters, and this is probably like an 8 millimeter. But just really pretty washi tapes that I believe have silver foil on them. That's what it looks like. So I got that set, and then I also ordered another bullet journal from Archer and Olive. I got this one this time, which is black background, and then you've got silver foiled moon and stars, and then it's like silver and gold glitter in the fabric cover, but it's really pretty. I got 192 pages again, so it's the biggest one you can get, and this is just an A5 size. And I thought it would be fun to see how many years of like reading stats and things like that I can fit into one of these journals. I'm going to kind of use last year's and this year's reading layouts that I do in my planner as a good bookmark to see, or benchmark, I guess, to see how much I can fit. But I thought I would transfer all of this year's into this planner and start with 2020 and then see how far I can get, even if it's only a 5 years in a planner sort of thing. I think it would be really nice to just have all of my reading stats together. So that's the plan. I probably am not gonna mess with this, honestly, for probably until like the end of the year during winter or something like that, once I've got all my reading spreads finalized and I know for sure what I want to do with this. I honestly just picked this up. I probably should have waited for it to go on sale or something, but I wanted to pick it up. I was perusing the website. This one was out of stock, so I like had them email me to notify me it was back in stock, and it was back in stock, and I just decided I'm gonna go for it and get it. So I did. These are really good quality, and I'm excited to see what my years stack up like in that planner. So I think that's it for right now. I'm gonna do some more listening and reading, and hopefully some exciting things happen in my books, so that way I have good updates to share with you. I have one doggy work buddy there, and the other one's hiding under the desk. I do so appreciate when my dogs actually want to spend time with me while I'm working. It's not very typical. They are usually either laying on the chase, as you've seen, out in the living room watching the world go by, sleeping the day away, or they're outside in the yard. So right now they're visiting me and it's very nice, even though I get grumbled at when I apparently interrupt Sleeping Beauty behind me. Alright, so check-in. I have my first book down for this week's Readathons. I just finished Crystal Storm and I'm giving it a 3-star rating. I think the plot was a bit too much back and forth. Like an event would happen in one place and then they would travel to another place and then instantly find out that the people they were going to find were gone, so they'd have to go back to the first place. And you've got, I think this has happened before, but I might be starting to forget at this point, where a character will die and then they'll all of a sudden come back. So it's just getting a little redundant. I mean, it's still fun to read through, but it is redundant at this point now, being the 5th book in. But I enjoyed it. Definitely left on a cliffhanger. So really excited to get into the last book, which I think is Immortal Reign. But glad to have my first book down. So again, I said that was the Marauders map prompt for the Visit Hogsmeade readathon and the book with Nobility for the Camp Bookland prompt, and nothing for Make Your Myth Taker. So I am going to start tonight then The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm by Christopher Paolini, which is my last Make Your Myth Taker book and my path to become a fairy. This doesn't work for Camp Bookland, but it does work for Visit Hogsmeade as, where do I have it? It's an underhyped book or something like that. Let's see, I've got it in spot 4. No, that is 4. Yeah, not the most popular, has less than 10,000 ratings on Goodreads. I think this is sitting at like 11 or 12,000 ratings, but I still felt like it was low enough, and this is for the Hogshead. So I'll get a little ways into this. It's got, I think just under 300 pages. We're at 281, but the text is rather large, and this is also a short book. It's same width, like, well, no, it's a little smaller width-wise and smaller height-wise. So should be really quick to read through. It also is like little short stories and things like that, so I'll be able to fly through this pretty quickly. I think I'll hope to have this done by maybe Saturday, no, maybe tomorrow night, Friday night, and then jump into another book. I'm not sure what that'll be. And I still have probably just under 7 hours left now in Timeless. Yeah, I'm at 6:56. So hopefully I can get that done tomorrow. Fridays, Skylar usually comes home when it's a non-Maddie weekend. He likes to come home and clean the bathrooms, and on Fridays I usually like vacuum the couch and sweep up all the dog fur and mop and things like that. So I'll have a good chunk of time to listen to audiobook while I'm cleaning the house. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and mark off the Crystal Storm now in my reading planner and my just planner and spreads and stuff, and then hop into bed. So hopefully I'll have an update to check in with you about tomorrow. You getting that tail, Rainy girl? Did you get it? Well, it's been a couple days since I did a proper vlog update. I'm not even sure when the last day was or what I told you. So basically, when I start to edit this, if I get to the point where I haven't talked about a certain book, I will do it before I close this out. But I don't think you know that I started on Friday reading Lion by Sue Bradley. It's also called A Long Way Home, I believe was its original title, and then when the movie came out titled Lion, I think it got like a new movie cover and a new title, at least some publications did. I know this story already because I did watch the movie. I can't recall if it was on my way to Scotland or on my way home from Scotland, but I watched it about 3 years ago, and didn't know that Sue Bradley had, or it's not Bradley, it's Brierley, had actually written his account of the story and what happened to him as a child. For those of you that don't know, it's about Saru when he was 5 years old. He ended up boarding a train and getting stuck on that train for quite an extensive journey and being taken away from his home. And he, being, his family didn't have a lot. So he spoke Hindu, and he didn't know, his vocabulary wasn't extensive, basically, so he couldn't explain where he was from or anything like that. His pronunciation also wasn't that good either. So he thought he knew the names of like the cities and the towns that he was from, but he was mispronouncing them. And at that time too, I think it still is a thing as well in India. A lot of the towns have quite similar names and spellings and all that stuff. So he wasn't able to get help at the train stations and get home. So he attempted to board a couple trains and try and make his way home with no success, and then ended up in an orphanage that places Indian children into new adoptive homes. And from there, he gets adopted by a family in Australia, Tasmania more specifically, and grows up there. And then around the time that he's in his late 20s, after he's completed college and stuff, he's always felt like a part of him is missing, and he really wanted to find his home and his mom and see if she was still alive and okay, and he wanted her to know that he was okay and he grew up well. So he takes to the internet, which I think it was in the late 80s or it was the early 90s. Either way, when, there was still dial-up, Facebook wasn't quite a thing yet, and email was for like professional purposes, not really for I don't know, like I guess keeping in touch purposes. So the one tool at his disposal was Google Earth. I think that's what it was. But basically, he factored in about how long he thought he was on the train for, which he figured was between 12 and 15 hours. And he knew that he was at a station in Calcutta. So he basically drew a circle for the circumference, however many miles out, a circle. And he followed each train line going out of Calcutta, and zoomed in on each part of the track to get the Google map, or like the Google image of it, until he could find where he was from. And it took him like 8 months or something to do that, of pretty much nonstop searching. I mean, he worked full time, but his evenings he would spend like 7 to 8 hours zooming in and going piece by piece, like very meticulous and very thorough. That way he was sure he wasn't missing anything. And yeah, it's basically his story of being reunited with his family. So it's a very beautiful story. It's absolutely insane, like crazy to think that that even happened, and that he was able by those methods to find his family and his home and stuff. So I've got only 8 minutes left in the book. So when I'm done with that, I'm hoping really soon Skylar and I can watch the movie together because he's not seen it. Other than that, I think I let you know I had started The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm by Christopher Paolini, which is my last book for the Make Your Myth Taker. I have about 100 pages left in that, so I will finish it up today. And that'll be my last book for Make Your Myth Taker. Also my last book to finish for Visit Hogsmeade, and I've only got one book in for Camp Bookland, which is fine. I'm not gonna try and squeeze anything in. Other than that, today we are going to a state park that's near us. I haven't talked about my wedding in a while, but for those of you that do watch my vlog, Skylar and I did get married back in April. But it was a very, very small, intimate, like 10 people max ceremony, and just kind of barbecue, I guess, at my brother's house. Because he's got 5 acres. He actually lives in the house that I grew up in. And so I didn't wear my wedding dress. We didn't do very much decorating. Like, I didn't have my theme or anything. I mean, Skylar was even wearing jeans. So it was very, very like a low-key affair. But I still want to have that wedding. I mean, obviously I own a dress. I think if I didn't own the dress, I might call it quits at this point. But I still want to have that wedding that I dreamed about. You know, I want Skylar's parents to be able to be there because they weren't able to be there for our wedding. And they were not notified, I guess, of Skylar's sister's wedding a couple years ago. So it hurts my heart knowing that Skylar's mom didn't get to see either of her kids get married. So I really want that for her as well. But as you can imagine, it's been a pain in the butt to plan things in these uncertain times. We had a state park booked, but that got canceled due to the virus back in March. And then I was looking at somewhere indoor. We were looking at this place about 30 minutes or so from us. And it's been an absolute nightmare communicating with the lady who coordinates the events there. They have a one-size-fits-all contract, which obviously doesn't work for everybody. My aunt has offered to prepare our food for us, and there was a certain like clause in the contract that stated we had to have catering insurance, even though we're not having a caterer. So it was a nightmare. It was 3 weeks of not hearing from her to find out if she could go to the lawyers and have them rewrite the contract and take that little piece out. And I finally had to call her and say, like, hey, I haven't heard from you in 3 weeks. I've sent multiple emails. Like, what's going on? And then for her to say, well, they say that it doesn't need to be taken out. And says, well, actually it does, because I'm not signing a contract where it says I'm responsible for this when you've told me that I'm not. So her solution was then to write an email. I asked for a letter, an email with her authorization that we didn't need the catering insurance and that we were covered by event insurance for that, since we weren't bringing in a caterer. And I don't know how long it's been now. It's probably been another 3 weeks. I sent an email to her and said, like, hey, haven't heard from you. When am I going to get this letter? And all I got back was, you're a top priority and you mean a lot to us, and I'm sorry it's taken so long, and no commitment as to when we were going to get that letter. So I really don't want to do business with these people anymore. I did already put down like a $300 non-refundable deposit, but I think I can argue my way into getting that back since she has been so non-responsive with us getting this sorted out. So I think we'll be able to get that money back. But now I am looking at another state park that's local to us that has a torpedo shed that you can rent out for, I think it's $450 for a day. And it's just this giant shed, basically. It's made out of brick. It's very beautiful, and there's a couple other buildings nearby that are all like brick and moss covered, and little bunkers and things. There's one bunker, but you can't go in it, that I am looking at. My cousin actually got married there 2 or 3 years ago in October. So I figured that might be perfect because we've already got covering. So if we are able to have this at the end of August, or even maybe the beginning of October, depending on how things go. September is out of the question because my brother and my best friend's husband will be hunting pretty much every weekend in September. So it's either got to be the end of August or the beginning of October if I want my brother there, which I do. And the beginning of October might still have nice weather. There is a fireplace there. You can have a fire. It's covered. They're open windows, so it's a little chilly inside. But you can also rent those like propane heater thingies. Actually, I think we've got a couple friends who have those, so set those up like in the corners or something. People would be just fine. Plenty of space for renting chairs and getting a couple tables. So I think that's the route we're gonna go. We can't at the moment book it, so I don't know if August 29th is open, because you can't book day use facilities right now through the end of June in Washington State. So I've got to wait until next week to see if they open that up, which would be nice if they do. And if the parks have to close, already dealing with a park for one venue, I do feel pretty confident that they would give us our money back with no problem. And then we could rebook it again at a later date. I mean, there's no additional fees or charges or anything like that, unlike this other place near us where we were looking at. So long story short, or not short because I already explained all that, we are gonna go this morning to look at the torpedo shed and make sure that it actually does have like power, electricity, plugins and those things. I looked on like wedding images, and it looks like someone had at one point a speaker set up, but I just want to make sure that's an actual thing there. And other than that, I mean, I think that'll be pretty perfect for us. It's got beautiful, I mean, it's a state park, so it's got beautiful, just lush greenery all around. There's I think there's a horseshoe pit. You can camp there as well. There's also hiking trails and things like that, and a little beach access. So I'm gonna take just my phone with me, so I might record a couple things and show you all after this. But yeah, so that's what our adventure is gonna be today, and I'm hoping that it works out because I'd really like to get married, like have the wedding this year. I'd really like to not have to plan it for next year, because honestly I'm done with this whole process and I want it to be over with, which is not how I want to feel about my wedding. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up getting ready and then hopefully take you along and show you around Washington a little bit more. Alright, so I finished up my last 8 minutes of Lion here a little bit ago and then edited the vlog up until this point. I think the only book that I didn't get around to telling you about that I had finished was Timeless by Gail Carriger. I'm giving it a 3-star rating, which I think is the highest rating I've given all of those books so far. I might have given Soulless a 3-star, but it was just a nice conclusion to a fun little series that I probably won't think much about here as the books kind of fade from my mind, but it is another series that I have finished up, so I've officially finished 4 out of my 6 planned for series for this year, which feels really good. It also got me another location on my, I guess, reading around the world map. I was able to visit Egypt through that book. So I still need to finish up The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm tonight, which I'm going to do as soon as I set this to upload on YouTube, since that'll take a little bit. I'm just going to change out of my jeans into some sweatpants and snuggle the dogs. Ronan heard me start talking, so now he's pacing. But yeah, overall I'd say it's been a good reading week. I didn't quite hit the 5 books that I was planning to read for Visit Hogsmeade, but I did finish 4 of them. As soon as I finish The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm, I'll have Make Your Myth Taker done, and I guess I only read 1 book for Camp Bookland, which is okay. And then I'll basically have until I've got 2 days to pick up and finish a book before the month ends. So I don't know if those 2 days I'll just catch up on my to watch list on YouTube and listen to music, or if I'll actually dive into another book. Probably, I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, I had a good reading week and I hope you did as well. I would love to know if you participated in any of the 3 readathons that I participated in this week, and if you did, what your favorite read for the week was. So if you feel so inclined, please do let me know down in the comments below, and I will chat with you there until my next video. Bye!